When World War II ended, the fighting stopped. But for millions of civilians across Europe and Asia, survival was far from guaranteed. Cities lay shattered, sanitation systems destroyed, and honestly, clean water had become one of the most dangerous necessities of daily life. Cholera, dysentery, and typhoid claimed lives long after the guns fell silent. In many regions, the difference between survival and death came down to whether a family understood how to make unsafe water drinkable without fuel, chemicals, or modern equipment. What most people don't realize is that one of the most effective answers already existed, quietly used by soldiers, refugees, and field hospitals alike. A ceramic water filter system so simple and durable that actually some of them are still working today. Why boiling water was often impossible after the war. Boiling is effective, but it assumes fuel, time, and stability. In bombed cities, wood was scarce, coal was rationed, and fires attracted attention in occupied or unstable areas. Refugees on the move could not stop long enough to boil every drop of water they needed. Hospitals, overwhelmed with wounded soldiers, needed constant access to safe water without tying up precious fuel. The solution had to work passively, continuously, and without dependence on supply chains. That is exactly where ceramic filtration proved its value. The ceramic filters used during and immediately after the Second World War were not complex devices, you know. They were typically made from clay, mixed with combustible organic material like sawdust or maybe rice husks. When fired in a kiln, the organic material would burn away, leaving behind a network of microscopic pores. These pores were small enough to physically block bacteria, parasites and sediment, while still allowing water to pass through by gravity alone. Many designs incorporated silver impregnation, not as a modern gimmick, but as a known antimicrobial practice even back then. Silver ions inhibit bacterial growth inside the filter itself, which prevents the ceramic from becoming a breeding ground over time. This meant the filter didn't just purify water once. It stayed clean and functional for years. Why did this method work when chemicals failed? Well, chemical purification tablets were used during the war, but honestly, they had their limitations. They altered the taste of the water, needed regular resupply, and, were less effective against certain pathogens and turbidity. Ceramic filtration, by contrast, removed contaminants physically rather than chemically. Muddy river water, crater-filled runoff, and contaminated well water could all be made drinkable without altering taste or needing precise dosing. For civilians in post-war Germany, Poland and Japan, ceramic filters became household infrastructure. They were mounted in kitchens, clinics and shelters, quietly turning dangerous water into something safe enough for infants and the elderly. Unlike sand filters, they required no complex layering. And, unlike charcoal alone, they didn't rely on adsorption alone. They simply blocked what should never enter the body. The genius of the ceramic filter wasn't just that it worked. It was that it could be maintained by ordinary people. When flow slowed, the surface was gently scrubbed with a brush or cloth to remove trapped sediment, restoring performance. No replacement cartridges, no proprietary parts. As long as the ceramic body remained intact, the filter continued to function. You know, some wartime filters were actually passed from family to family. Others, well, they were salvaged from abandoned clinics and reused for decades. There are even documented cases of ceramic filters manufactured in the 1930s still purifying water in rural homes well into the late 20th century. That longevity is not just theoretical, you see. It is, in fact, proven. The same principles, honestly, remain valid today. Any situation involving unreliable water sources, whether that's due to a natural disaster, infrastructure failure, or just remote living, can benefit from ceramic filtration. Gravity-fed systems, they require no electricity at all, and they scale easily from individual use to family or even community setups. Most importantly, they do not expire. A properly made ceramic filter does not care about market cycles or shipping delays. It works as long as physics works. Water moves through pores smaller than bacteria. Contaminants stay behind. Clean water emerges below. Why this method disappeared from common knowledge? Post-war industrialization favored convenience over durability. Disposable filters, chemical treatments, and pressurized systems replaced long-life solutions. Not because they worked better, but because they generated repeat consumption. Ceramic filtration didn't fit that model. Once you had one, you didn't need another, you know. But, you know, wartime survivors didn't really think in terms of convenience. They thought in terms of survival curves, what worked without fail, and what didn't depend on outside help. And, well, what kept children alive when nothing else could. This wasn't primitive technology, not at all. It was refined, tested, and trusted under the harshest conditions imaginable. When modern systems failed, ceramic filters just kept working. Quietly, reliably, forever, really, as long as someone cared enough to clean them. So, if knowledge like this matters to you, if preserving the systems that kept people alive when there were no second chances resonates with you, then subscribe to the Wartime Frontlines. Share this with someone who values real preparedness and help keep these lessons from disappearing again.